Hello and welcome. It all started on a lovely summer's day on the 27th of August this year, 2022. The route was from Old Park Farm up to Welshpool. The reason being that there was a cafe that was open. 8 aircraft were setting off, and at first it was beautiful, just some scattered clouds. Immediately we had to start altering course to the east because of the cloud over the hills. And they kept building. We ended up at 5,000 feet to keep above the broken cloud. Once we got to Welshpool, we descended down through a large gap and circuited round to land on runway 22 at Welshpool. So we're just turning here downwind and turning left base. There's the town of Welshpool ahead of us over the River Severn. Finals for 22. And my intention was to land and quickly backtrack, but person asked me to go on the ATC asked me to go all the way to the end and hold for the other aircraft to land, which was a little bit frustrating. So I'll just speed that up once I've landed. So my intention here was just to do a quick backtrack, and I was asked, no, please go to the end. So I raced down to the end and held, and then backtracked all the way back. So out of the 8 aircraft that had set off, only 4 of us had made it through to the end at Welshpool. Out of the 8 aircraft, as I say, only 4 arrived. The other 4, one was mechanical failure, and the other 3 turned back because they didn't like the look of the clouds up ahead, which is fair comment. Then we had a look around the hangars, a beautiful shadow there, which of course got our attention, and then it was time for me to depart to Hughley. Quick hop across the fields there, not a long flight at all. You have to climb up out of the valley, out of Welshpool, and that's what I'm doing here. It takes a little bit of time to get to the height of those hills. There's no point rushing up. There's the town of Welshpool off to the left. I'd come to the right because there was a Cherokee behind me that obviously was faster than me and overtook me. Wenlock Edge, but Wenlock Edge is in the distance there, and we came round to Hughley, along the edge, and then downhill. Doesn't really kind of show how much of a downhill this really is on the camera, but downhill onto the finals of runway 34 at Hughley. Across the road, you can see almost got the throttle shut here as it is coming close. There we go, the throttle close. So the reason for coming here was to visit Chris. Now Chris is here with his brand new Shadow, and that is a brand new Shadow. He'd found a kit in Scotland that had been bought and had never been used and never been attempted to build. So he bought the kit, has built the Shadow. It's got a brand new 912 on it, and it looks immaculate. All covered in Oratex, nice standard cockpit, and of course hand controls as well, which surprised me just how easy it is to convert. He was explaining to me how easy it was to just convert the joystick. Next flight was across from Hughley across to Fisherwick, just going south of Cosford. Near Fisherwick, there's a couple of very big aerials that go right up to the Birmingham controlled airspace at 1,500 feet. So here I am, there's Tamworth off the wingtip, and the railway lines feature majorly here at Fisherwick as part of indicators for the circuit. So we go right up to the Derby railway line, turn left, come back past Elford, over the River Tam, however you pronounce it. I just avoided one farmhouse here, which comes up as a red circle on Sky Demon. That's why I'm banking to the right round the farmhouse. Continue on, and you go all the way to the London-Manchester route railway line. That's it there. There's the Manchester railway line, which is significant because in 1910 that was the navigation aid for the great race from London to Manchester. Can you imagine, just 112 years ago that was a major event. Today it would just be not even mentioned. So there's the railway line. again, which is part of the circuit here. And we're just turning left onto runway 06, which just favoured the wind a little bit. There's hardly any wind at this time of the day. Coming round, close the throttle, lovely approaches, lovely clear fields, flat fields. And I realised, I'm going to have to taxi a long way, so just adding a bit of power just to fly down the runway, just so I don't have to taxi quite so far. Now, when we got here, got a really warm welcome at the terminal building from Mick O'Shea, who is a Microlight school chief instructor there. Really welcoming. And there's all the details about the 1910 air race, which landed at Fisherwick. There was only a 17-mile flight from Fisherwick down to Stoke Golding. So, beautiful evening. I took off on runway 36, they have a 3618. So, really flat, really open area around Fisherwick. Such a beautiful airfield to fly from. And banks onto the River Tame at the side there. So just building my speed up and then pulling up. What a beautiful evening. It's gone lovely and still. This is about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was beautiful. So, leaving the circuit, we again avoid the noise sensitive areas around Elford and go to the railway line. In case of IFR, I follow railways again. And just see the shadow on the ground racing across the river there. So let's just speed things up a little bit here. So there's no point in climbing that high on such a short flight, and it was very still. Kept at about 1,000 feet above the ground and followed the track down to Stoke Golding. As I approached Stoke Golding, Tim Jinks came up on the radio and let me know that they were using 08, so I turned downwind, joined at 45 degrees. Here I am just slowing it up, getting the flaps down. There go the flaps. And positioning left base for runway 08. Just gone a little bit low here, so I had to just add a bit of power just to hold it off. Always better just to land at the airfield than the field before. There we go. Over the fence, over the numbers 08 and down. And again here I got a tremendously warm welcome for everybody who was setting up ready for the fly-in the following day. So just taxied down to the end on the taxiway and parked up by Joe Roberts' aircraft. Pitched my tent ready for the night, and it was a beautiful evening. Robin flew in his shadow there, just to the bottom left. He'd only come a few miles and he went home again later and came back the following day for the fly-in. It was a fantastic evening there. The sun finally setting. Lovely and still all over the airfield. Shadows hiding in the hedge there. During the night, Orion came up and drifted across the sky, and in the morning, what a view from your tent, tailplane of your aircraft. And I just loved the humour of the people at old Stoke Golding. Next morning, being an early riser, I walked down the road and then to the towpath of the Ashby Canal, along the Ashby Canal, and then into Stoke Golding. Beautiful walk there, very quiet, very still. The canal looked fantastic. And of course, Stoke Golding is famous for the birthplace of the Tudor dynasty. But I mean, everybody knew that, obviously. And back to the airfield, things were getting busy. And if we just listen, we can hear Adrian Jones approaching. There he is. So we had 3 shadows at that stage. A 4th one did fly in. As I say, Robin came in later in the day. There was other hangars open. It was an SE5 in the corner, which has a O200 Continental engine in it, which is being the aircraft's being refurbished. And in the corner there was Creative Joe, his stand. Joe Roberts is who's a shadow owner also, there in the orange shirt. His artwork is fantastic. Okay.
You bumped into John?
Yes.
John Whiting, yeah. No, he did my difference training.
Here's a link to it and some of the images that he makes. And he does commissions, so if you want one of your own aircraft, you'd be welcome to get in touch with him. By the middle of the afternoon, there was having to turn people away, and I was ready to leave. So I set off. It was 144 miles home and a tailwind most of the way. Huge number of gliders around the Bidford area. Just after I passed Welshpool and Mountford, I got past the M5 and it was a whole lot better. And then finally Swansea Bay came into sight and I was nearly home. Really, really enjoyed the whole 2 days away. And here we are, just quickly over the reservoir, around the corner, over the M4, turning onto finals, and over the maze, which is getting quite long, so it makes it quite close as you come across the finals. And home again. Well, thanks for watching all the way to the end, and hope you enjoyed it.